The regular meeting of the Aurora City Council for Monday, September 25th, 2023 is called to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Kaufman.
Here.
Councilmember Bergen.
Here.
Councilmember Coombs.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Gardner.
Here.
Councilmember Jurenski.
Here.
Councilmember Lawson. Councilmember Marcano.
Present.
Councilmember Medina.
Here.
Councilmember Murillo.
Present.
Councilmember Sundberg.
Here.
And Councilmember Zvonek.
Here.
There's a quorum.
Announcement for the call-in line.
City Council welcomes feedback from the public on both matters appearing on the agenda and during public invited to be heard. If you would like to speak and have not already spoken to an operator, please press *3. For those watching on Channel 8, call 855-695-3475 and press *3 when connected. You will hear a prompt confirming you are in line to speak to an operator and then to be able to continue listening to the meeting. When the operator comes on the line, please be ready to give them your name and agenda item you wish to speak on. Keep in mind you must press *3 before the city clerk reads the title of the item you wish to speak on. Finally, as a reminder, council does not allow comments about any items on the agenda during public invited to be heard. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes, and public invited to be heard is limited to 1 hour in total.
El Consejo Municipal de la Ciudad de Aurora da la bienvenida a la opinión de sus habitantes y otros vecinos en asuntos comparecientes en la agenda y durante la invitación a la audiencia. Esta sesión tiene disponible interpretación en español. Por favor, háganos saber si usted necesita este servicio. Recuerde que el Consejo no permite comentarios de la audiencia mientras se dirige a asuntos de la agenda del día. Por favor, confirme su turno y espere a la invitación para el comentario público. Gracias.
Please join me in a moment of silence to mourn the loss of the 2 lives in the house fire last week and despite the courageous response of our Aurora Fire Rescue. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The executive session update. During the executive session, we interviewed the interim city manager for the position of city manager. The City of Aurora acknowledges that we gather on the territories and ancestral homelands of the Cheyenne, Ute, Arapaho, and Lakota peoples, past and present. We also recognize the 48 contemporary tribal nations that are historically tied to the lands that make up the state of Colorado. Indigenous peoples have remained committed to the stewardship of this land over many centuries. As these words of acknowledgement are spoken and heard, the ties that these nations, tribal nations, have to their traditional homelands and to their vital place in the ecosystem are renewed and reaffirmed, and we are called to be better stewards of the land we inhabit as we continue to work to meet the needs of our entire community. I'd like to approval of the minutes for September 11, 2023. A motion is in order.
Mayor,
Councilmember Bergen.
wish to approve the minutes from September 11th.
Moved by Councilmember Bergen, seconded by
Sundberg.
Councilmember Sundberg to approve the minutes from September 11, 2023. Discussion? I see no discussion. A call for the question on the approval of the minutes for September 11, 2023.
Mayor Kaufman.
Mayor votes yes.
Councilmember Murillo.
Yes.
The motion passes to adopt the September 11th, 2023 City Council minutes.
We have a swearing-in ceremony. Judge Sean Day, presiding judge, City of Aurora.
All right, thank you, Mayor. I believe there's some city attorneys that I need to swear in. So the assistant city attorneys that are here tonight to be sworn in, if you can come forward. And folks, if you have friends or family who would like to come forward to take photographs or video while we're doing the swearing in, you can come forward as well. All right, there's quite a few of you. So we'll begin the oath together. I'll start by saying I, and then have each of you state your name individually, and then we'll continue with the oath together, okay? If you raise your right hands, repeat after me. I, and we'll start here on this end. Having been duly appointed as an assistant city attorney for the city of Aurora, Colorado, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully and impartially administer the affairs of such office in accordance with the constitutions of the United States of America and of the state of Colorado, and the charter and ordinances of the city of Aurora, to the best of my judgment and ability, so help me God. Congratulations.
Let me read the public decorum announcement before we do public invited to be heard, which is next on the agenda. Council has created a public forum and wants to receive citizen input. Creating a public forum is not a legal requirement, but since Council has created that opportunity, First Amendment protections apply. This forum provides the most protection for free speech and is the most scrutinized speech by courts. You are asked to follow the same rules that Council follows. Attacks of a personal nature are not permitted. Causing a disturbance is not allowed. Children may be present or may be hearing the broadcast of this meeting. We would ask you to refrain from using profanity. The mayor has been requested by council to admonish speakers for noncompliance. We ask that you respect those who are speaking, whether you are in agreement with them or their content or not. Outbursts from the audience are not permitted, and we request that you refrain from clapping, snapping, cheering, or booing. To allow everyone the opportunity to be heard, council should be given opportunity to address staff, to exchange contact information when the speaker is at the podium. Council may clarify statements related to any speaker's comments at the conclusion of public invited to be heard, but shall not enter into debate with the speakers. Public invited to be heard.
Robbie DeYoung, followed by Charles Cox.
Last time I was here, thank you, Council and Mayor. Last time I was here, I was told I am too soft-spoken. Well, that's news to me and everybody in my family and anyone who's known me my entire life. So I will speak more directly into the mic. I run a group called Stolen and Vandalized Vehicles in the state of Colorado. We have over 1,800 members, and we're growing. Our group is for everyone, directly or indirectly affected by auto theft and carjackings. Now, you'd think movies like Gone in 60 Seconds are just movies, and they're not real. Well, I hate to tell you this, cars can be gone in actually less than 60 seconds. And that's the sad truth. There were over 43,000 vehicles stolen last year. Of those stolen vehicles, less than 4,000 people were arrested, and only 3% of those actually saw their day in court. 3% of those less than 4,000 people that stole cars. Now, granted, most vehicles are stolen by, for lack of a better way of putting it, career criminals. So if they steal one, they've probably stolen more. Back when I first started this, I heard about a home out east of the city that the police went over to visit this individual because he got into a fight with somebody that he was trying to steal their car. They found 45 stolen vehicles on his property. 45 stolen vehicles. This has also happened in cities like Commerce City. This has happened in cities like Pueblo. It's a statewide problem. It's not just for here in Aurora. Now, I had 5 vehicles that were not reported as stolen, but they were abandoned in my neighborhood in the last 3 weeks. They're all gone now, thanks to some calls that were made, and I appreciate that. But I do believe those abandoned vehicles are also a part of this whole crime.
Time's up, thank you.
Charles Cox, followed by Danny Danko Holloway.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I guess I'll introduce myself. My name is Charles Cox. I'm a veteran of Vietnam and Desert Storm, served 23 years in the Air Force. I've lived in my house since 1995. My issue that I come to you right now is about the wording on a policy about advertising, having a food truck, and they think, the code enforcement seem to think that I'm advertising at my house. I'm not advertising. My information is on the food truck, and they seem to think I'm advertising. But I think the policy should read something about it that it's necessary to have my information on the food truck if I'm parked at the house. So in that policy, I think the wording probably needs to be changed a little bit to allow food trucks to be parked at the house. Because I'm not advertising, I'm not saying I'm open for business and come on in. That's not happening at all. And that's what I bring before you. If there's anything else I should do, you have recommendations for me or things I should do to follow up on it, I'll adhere to that.
Thank you. Katie, please give me his contact information.
Katie, same.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, great.
Aim high. Off we go to wild yonder.
Danny Danko Holloway. I'll give them your contact.
Tonight I'm addressing the council on 2 issues. First tonight is the Hudson Road closure near the airport. This is a route that my family has taken to access our family farm since at least 1907. You recently announced that you were not going to be fixing the road, which is, I don't know, at the most 500 feet of destruction from the recent flooding. We have paid our taxes and have been associated with unfavorable annexations. And this is ridiculous. It adds tremendous extension to my travel to the farm, and it's not acceptable.
Councilmember Bergen.
Hudson Road.
Okay, now we have a few callers on the call-in line.
Sabrina, you're next. Go ahead, you have 3 minutes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hello, my name is Sabrina, and it has been 116 days since Jordell Richardson was murdered by the police and was ripped away from this world. On June 1st, 2023, 2 officers, James Snap and Rock Gruseca, racially profiled Jordell and his friends. The 2 officers chased down Jordell, and then Snap tackled him to the ground. While still being held on the ground, Jordell verbally surrendered to the 2 officers, saying, "You got me, you got me." He was not a threat to either one of the officers, and even had one of his arms pinned to his back. However, that was not enough for Officer Gruseca. After screaming out threats, he shot Jordell in his stomach. After Jordell was killed, Chief Acevedo misled the public and smeared Jordell's name by saying that he was armed with a gun. In addition, he put the blame on Jordell. After a full week of lying, Chief Acevedo finally admitted that it was a toy gun. At no point in the body cam footage did Jordell pull out the toy gun. He was not a threat. He was a child. The family of Jordell Richardson demands that the 2 officers, Snap and Gruseca, be fired and indicted, and that Chief Acevedo be fired. However, nothing has been done, and it seems as though DA John Kellner is not willing to do what's right, since recently he has filed no charges against the 2 officers and even stated that their actions were justified. He is telling all of us that it is okay for cops to kill children and that they can get away with it. Jordell did not deserve to be killed. He should still be here with his family. He should be starting his first year at high school with his friends. But those 2 officers did not care when they stole his life away. The officers and the chief did not care how much suffering and pain they've given the family of Jordell. Please don't turn a blind eye to this injustice. Do the right thing and help give justice to Jordell Richardson and his family. Thank you.
Next, we have Julia. Julia, go ahead, you have 3 minutes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Hello, my name is Julia. I'm with an organization called DACAC, Denver Aurora Community Action Committee. I unite with Sabrina, and I am also calling in to demand justice for Jordell Richardson. So we're talking about a 14-year-old Black child who was shot by police officers after they had already subdued him. He was shot in the back. He was carrying a toy gun, which would have been useless in defending himself from police. So he was murdered by police with a toy gun that he was not in the body cam footage. He was not using aggressively. He was tackled and he was shot in the back. It's been over 100 days, as Sabrina said, since this has happened. This is time that his family has had grieving, seeking justice, protesting, and yet we have not seen the cops that are responsible held accountable. DA Kellner has even dismissed any charges against the officers involved, saying that it was justified for them to end this young boy's life. And I, as well as Denver Aurora Community Action Committee, are advocating for the firing of this officer. We think that DA John Kellner needs to hold accountable these people who have murdered this child. And we are demanding community control of the police because ultimately that's what this boils down to. Police brutality is going to continue. Police racism is going to continue until the police are in the hands of the community. Yes, thank you. That is my statement.
Next, we have Tanya. Tanya, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Yes, this is Tanya Tabachek. I just wanted to thank Chief Otten and Fire Station 2 for opening up their station, showing my brother Charlie Tabachek the area. And also recently, I did sit with 911 and learned a lot through them. And they need a more mental health assistance at nighttime with dealing with calls so they can just focus on regular calls as well. So I just wanted to make the statement.
Thank you.
That was the last person.
The motion is order for the adoption of the agenda.
Mayor,
Councilmember O'Connor.
so moved.
Moved by Councilmember O'Connor, seconded by
Coombs?
Councilmember Coombs for the adoption of the agenda. Question before us is the adoption of the consent calendar.
Mayor, we have to vote.
Oh, yes. Ouch. The pesky thing, voting. Is there further discussion on the adoption of the agenda? Seeing none, question before us is the adoption of the agenda. Call for the question.
Mayor Kaufman,
Mayor votes yes.
Councilmember Murillo.
Yes.
The motion passes to adopt the agenda.
And the question before us is the adoption of the consent calendar on motions. Item number 10A1 to item number 10C5.
Mayor, motion to approve 10A1 through 10C5.
Is moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by
Jurenski.
Seconded by Councilmember Jurenski to approve the consent calendar motions 10A1 to 10A1 to 10C5. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the adoption of the consent calendar.
Mayor,
Mayor votes yes.
Councilmember Murillo.
Yes.
The motion passes to adopt the consent calendar for motions.
This question before us is the adoption of the consent calendar resolutions and ordinances, items number 11A1 to 11A9. Motion is in order.
Mayor, motion to approve 11A1 through 11A9.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by,
Jurenski.
seconded by, I'm sorry. Councilmember Jurenski to approve the consent calendar on resolutions, item number 11A1 to 11A9. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the adoption of the consent calendar on resolutions.
The motion passes to adopt the consent calendar for resolutions and ordinances.
Clerk, now please read the title to item number 12A.
Item 12A is Resolution 2023-111 for a public hearing and consideration of a resolution approving the amended and restated consolidated service plan for Aspen Business Park Metro District, Aurora Crossroads Metro District numbers 1 through 2, and Crossroads East Metro District, and approving an amended and restated intergovernmental agreement between the City of Aurora, Colorado, and the districts.
Public hearing is now open. Presentation by staff.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Chesarina Dancy, Development Assistant Supervisor. We have a request from the applicant on this item to continue to the October 23rd, 2023 council meeting, and we do have representatives here if you have any questions.
The motion is in order for the continuance of item number 12A to October 23rd.
Mayor,
Councilmember Zvonek.
I move to continue until October
23rd.
23rd.
Second. Moved by Councilmember Zvonek, seconded by Councilmember Bergen for a continuance of an item number 12A to October 23rd. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the continuance.
Councilmember Bergen, thank you. The motion passes to continue this item to the October 23rd regular City Council meeting.
Will clerk now please read the title to item number 13A?
Item 13A is introduction of ordinance 2023-46, amending sections 134-2C4, 134-2C5, 134-37A20, 134-356, 134-358, and 134-425A7 of the City Code and Colorado Model Traffic Code Section 1204 is adopted by the City of Aurora pertaining to the regulation and enforcement of the parking of the vehicles in the city.
Okay. Brief presentation by staff. All right, and I guess it's I can do it. This ordinance came about because of the fact that Denver had tightened up its ordinance on RVs and tractor trailers, abandoned vehicles, and so I felt that we should make ours at least as tough as theirs in order to avoid a migration from Denver to Aurora if we in fact had lesser policies. So the three big takeaways are authorizing the impoundment of an unlawful vehicle parked on a public right-of-way for more than 24 hours rather than 48 hours after being cited as an unlawful vehicle. The weight limit for semi-trailers, trailers, and commercial vehicles in excess of 22 feet in length is reduced to 6,000 pounds from the previous 7,000 pounds to be consistent with the city's UDO and Denver's weight limits. Recreational vehicles can be parked on the public right-of-way for no more than 24 hours during a 7-day period rather than the previous 5-day period. Motion is in order. I move 13A.
Second.
And seconded by Councilmember, moved by the mayor, seconded by Councilmember Bergen. Discussion?
Mayor.
Councilmember Murillo.
Yeah, thank you. I was wondering if somebody could comment on, I understand a police officer has to be present when we're trying to move a vehicle. Is this a function that the police reserve that we authorize could participate in supporting alleviating this, the high backlog that we have?
So I can take that one, Tim. So yes, if under the proposed police reserve officers, since they are would be post certified, this is something that a function that they could serve in.
I don't see the chief here. I was going to ask for a comment, but perhaps I can circle back before the next.
If you have an out, I'm happy to relay it if we need to.
Well, just.
Mayor, I'm online, Mayor.
Oh, well, there we go.
Chief Acevedo.
Yeah, we'd have to double check and confirm, but we're fairly positive that we would be able to use reserve officers for that function. Keep in mind that that'll take us probably about 8 to 12 months to get a program up and running.
Okay. Further discussion?
Mayor.
Councilmember Drinsky.
Yeah, just to follow along what my colleague, Councilmember Murillo said. So if that is the case and we can use reserve officers for such things as like towing vehicles, would that at some point make you reconsider your vote against the reserve department?
Further discussion?
Oh, thanks.
Mayor.
Councilmember Cano.
Thank you, sir. I did just want to let my colleagues know that I have asked Councilmember Lawson to add this issue to our state priorities to be discussed at FISR so that we're able to utilize other means as opposed to requiring sworn officers to be present when we're towing a vehicle, since that's a statutory requirement currently. So that will ultimately have to come back to council to approve to add to our state priorities. So I'm hoping we can get the support of the body then.
Further discussion?
Mayor?
Councilmember Bergen.
Yes, question for staff, just in terms of, are there any exceptions to this 24 hours?
Could you repeat that? I didn't understand.
Would there ever be any exceptions to the 24 hours?
Not as it's written, no, ma'am.
Okay, do we ever have any cases where it would cause any issues?
The ordinance says be towed after being cited for 24 hours. It can take longer than that, though.
Okay, because when they're cited. So if it would be after they're cited that it has to be.
Well, again, we're talking about the officer involvement. So if there's a staffing issue, it may not be done in 24 hours.
Okay, thank you.
Further discussion?
Mayor.
Councilmember Coons.
So I guess I have a question on section 134-358A1, where it's defining recreational vehicles. So it includes truck campers and conversion vans. And I'm wondering, like, if someone was using such a vehicle, like a truck camper, right, you're essentially just putting a bed in the back of your truck, potentially. That could be considered a truck camper. So if a person was also using that as their vehicle for transportation and there wasn't any real way to tell, like, this is a recreational vehicle, would that be included under the conversion vans and truck campers for vehicles that would be forbidden from being parked on the street for more than 24 hours?
We included in the definition in section 134-358 of recreational vehicle what Denver has as a recreational vehicle, how they describe it. So we just tried to match what Denver wrote. I'm not real clear on what your question is.
I'm wondering if there's really a way we could enforce, right, if we can't tell that it's been converted, because oftentimes it just looks like a regular Sprinter van or a regular truck that someone might use for any purpose. So would it be enforceable if we can't tell that it's been converted into a recreational vehicle, for one? And for two, I guess my concern is that this might lead to kind of harassing people who are just using vehicles that might be converted but not creating a nuisance, or might appear the same as a vehicle that's been converted because we have no way of telling from the outside.
Well, we know that some vehicles or recreational vehicles or trailers are used, for lack of a better term, a man cave, so that some people, one person in a household can just go to the trailer and stay there for a while. But when it's used for overnight as a dwelling, it falls under this ordinance. We don't tow a recreation, anything that's used for dwelling purposes, because we have no place to tow that to. Does that answer your question?
Kind of. I guess my concern is if it's not used for that purpose, but it's constructed such that it could be used for that purpose, but it's also being used for the dual purpose of transportation, I just feel like it gets a little hairy on enforcement. So that's just a concern that I have with how that's phrased, is that it's designed for this use, whether or not it's actually being used for that use or is being used for just general transportation use, that a person is basically being told, you can't park your car on the street because you also take it camping sometimes in the summer and you have it constructed to promote that use.
So if it looks like it's going to be, my answer is going to be a little odd, but what appears to be a normal recreational type vehicle, it has limits on how long it can be parked on the public right-of-way, as well as on a private driveway as well. So even though it may not be used for overnight camping or for occupancy at that moment, it still falls within the parameters of this ordinance.
Further discussion?
So if I could, a quick
please.
The concern, so my vehicle, having a pickup truck, it comes with options where you can camp in it. You can have a tent that's actually constructed by Chevy that you can put a tent on top of it. It's really going to be factual out in the field for the code enforcement officer. So as I'm driving my pickup truck and I parked it there, wouldn't be a problem. If I have the tent on it, you can't really drive around with it, but that would be, if it's got the tent option on it, yes, it would fall under this.
That's what I was going to say.
Further discussion?
Mayor.
Councilmember Coons.
So I guess my concern is I am familiar with instances where folks essentially use our complaint-based code enforcement system to harass their neighbors. And so there could be instances where someone says, oh, well, they're violating a code. and they're constantly calling code enforcement out on their neighbors because they have a pickup truck with a shell that is constructed so that they could fold it out for a bed when they go camping in the summer, even though it's really their primary transportation vehicle. And just, so that's my concern, is just that the extent of this definition, it's so expansive that it can also capture people's primary transportation vehicles and could lead to that kind of using code enforcement for harassment.
Further discussion?
Mayor?
Councilmember McConnell.
Thank you, sir. I'm also concerned just about the application of camper shells in general. I used to work construction way back when, and one of the contractors that I worked with, he had a camper shell on his pickup. He'd set up a sawhorse on the back, and he'd keep the camper shell on there, even though I don't think he ever actually used the truck to camp with, just to keep the tools and materials, basically protected from the weather. So I'm concerned that as this is currently defined, a work truck effectively with a camper shell would be considered a violation as well. So I'd like to see us actually refine the language just a little bit, because I understand the spirit of and the intent of this, which I'm generally in support of. But I think currently we could potentially use it, or the way it's currently written, rather, it could be used to, as Councilmember Coombs pointed out, harass neighbors.
Well, let's wait. I'd like to put a motion for a continuance forward to the next regular meeting to tighten up the definition. Is there a second?
Second.
Yeah, it's been moved by the mayor, seconded by Councilmember McConnell.
Zavonic, I think. It was Zavonic.
Oh, Councilmember Zavonic, to move this to the next regular meeting for an opportunity to take a look at the definitions. Discussion?
Mayor?
Mayor.
Councilmember Bergen.
No, I appreciate that, Mayor, because I had a little bit of trouble with just some of the definitions. I appreciate tweaking it.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Oh, it was me, Sundberg.
I'm sorry, Councilmember Sundberg.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for continuing also to the concerns of Councilmembers Coombs and Marcano. I did have a resident reach out to me who had felt like he had been harassed by neighbors via code for like a 4 to 5 year period that we're looking into, but there is legitimacy there.
Sure. I do think that camper shells should not be in that definition. Further discussion? Seeing none, question before us is continuing item number 13A to the next regular meeting of the Aurora City Council for purposes of working on the definition. Call for the question.
Mayor?
Yes, Mayor votes yes.
The motion passes to continue item 13A to the next regular council meeting.
Will the clerk now please do the title to item number 15A?
Item 15A is a public hearing and consideration of Resolution 2023-112, making certain findings of fact regarding the proposed annexation of a parcel of land located in Section 7, Township 3 South, Range 64 West of the 6th Principal Meridian, County of Adams, State of Colorado.
Okay, I believe item number 15A, 15B, and 15C are related. Am I correct? And so if we could do the presentation for all three, but we're going to have to vote on each one separate. I'm going to have to open up a public hearing on each one separately for a separate vote. Presentation by staff.
Yeah, Mayor, just quick clarification. Only a public hearing on the first item, 15A.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And 15C, sorry. Middle one does not. Thank you. So good evening, Mayor and members of City Council. For the record, I'm Jacob Cox, Manager of Development Assistance here at the city. A petition for annexation was filed with the City Clerk for annexation of a roughly 653-acre parcel owned by Chelsea Investments, LLC. That parcel is located at the northwest corner of 56th Avenue and Bowdoin Road. There's a vicinity map in your backup materials. Council made a finding of substantial compliance regarding this annexation on August 14th, 2023. The annexation process follows state law and are considered over 3 council meetings. Tonight's agenda, the second in that process in which City Council conducts the public hearing, considers approval of a resolution making a finding that the land is eligible for annexation, and considers the introduction of the annexation ordinance as well as the zoning ordinance, which you'll hear. And I'll note that we have outside representatives available to assist with questions, but they do not have a separate presentation, so we're happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Forgot to open. Public hearing is now open.
No, Mayor, we do have somebody from the public who would like to speak.
Very well.
Okay. Danny Danko Holloway.
Hello. I'm not exactly sure how each A, B, and C have been separated, so I might have questions for each. I had sent questions or an email to Councilman Steve Sundberg and Rashid Rabba, both about 2 weeks ago, and I also sent an email to Jason Cox today, and I didn't hear back from anybody. I finally got in touch with Rashid Rabba today, which was helpful, but I'm confused about things because I didn't
Please feel free to address all three.
Excuse me?
Please feel free to address
Okay,
all
so
three.
I'm not sure what A is because,
Well,
but I am one of the, there are 3 owners of an adjacent section of land, which is in today's, I think it's page 608 of today's presentation, called annexation map. And in the original presentation, it looked very different. But both of them, the first one looked like this, and the second one looks like this. But both of them, from what I see, do not have a surveyor's certificate. The one that's currently in there says Flatirons, Inc., Land Surveyors, and it says draft wording copy only final verbiage will have stamp and signature. But it also refers to the information as becoming an annexation as to something that they pulled off of the website of the assessor, Adams County assessors, and they have the Adams County web map disclaimer right here saying that it is not a legal document pulled from the website. So I guess with that, I'll leave it until I hear more of the presentation.
Is there a presentation by an applicant?
Not a separate presentation, but they're here to answer questions as well. I think we can address the maps briefly. So there are, the surveyed map, and there's also more of a graphic exhibit.
Should I stay?
Oh,
No, I'm sorry.
I'll call you back up for the next item.
So I believe, Rashid, on the zoning application, there's more of a graphic exhibit where it's indicating that zoning of the property. The annexation map is an annexation plat map in which it is a survey document, but she is correct, it's not stamped and signed until we do request Mylars once the annexation is effective.
Okay.
Yeah. Rashid's going to give a presentation on the zoning separately here.
Okay.
Oh, here you go.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, City Council. I'm Rashid Rabba, presenting for Planning Development Services staff. Tonight for your review is an application for initial zoning map amendment approval to rezone the property from Agriculture Adams County to Airport District. This zoning map has been recommended for approval by the Planning Commission on August 23rd, 2023. Oh. The site is located on northwest corner of Imbaughn Road and East 56th Avenue. The current zoning, as I said, is agriculture zoning. And proposed zoning is airport district. Initial zoning consists with comprehensive plan, and proposed airport district is compatible with the surrounding zoning. And with that, I conclude my presentation. Thank you.
Is there any further presentation by staff?
No further presentation.
Okay, I'm going to make an exception and go to public invited to be heard again, since we've combined the three. Do you have any other comments or questions?
Yes. Always. If you look at the annexation map, which I don't know, that they have put in here, it's page 608, and I don't know if I should jump to this or not. Okay. If you look at that, you can even tell with a layman's eye that, and you can take just a regular piece of paper and straighten it out with the edges, that that's not a straight line. You can also look at the small print where it says that it was taken from a cap from 2018, and the corrective personal representative's deed that was filed in 2021 corrects the description of my parcel, or what used to be our section, and now because of annexations from DEN and DIA in the city of Aurora, well, DEN and DIA, and which wouldn't affect that, but the line curves. It's not a straight line. You can take a straight line to the others, but you can't take a straight line to that. And then also you can see where the date says that Flatiron said that they did this survey on August 16th of 2023. If they did this survey on August 16th of 2023, why wasn't it included in our previous meeting on August 23rd when they did their last presentation?
Is there any response by staff or the applicant?
I can speak to, I think maybe there's a question about the contiguity, is that?
No, I think what she's referencing, when you look at the package, and I think 608 of that, what she's referencing is when you look at the vicinity map on that, there's a label on the map that says County Road 24. And you'll see the waggle there. I think she's saying that the waggle sort of on the west end of the road is not a straight line, and that's, I think, giving her concern that somehow that's, ma'am, I can only assume here, I don't mean to put words into your mouth, but that is, you think your boundary property is a straight line, and seeing that waggle on the map is somehow impeding into your property. Do I have that correct?
Well, Fairfield and Woods, I believe, is Chelsea Investments law firm, and they were also Kelly Trucking's firm, and this just is, and Rita Connolly is on the Economic Development Council, and it just keeps getting deeper and deeper, and it's just not a good deal.
Okay, so I understand. So so do I have that correct, though? It's that.
Yes.
So it's that. Okay, so that's there. Okay, so I'm going to allow our attorney or perhaps the applicant to address, but I will tell you that sort of. This is a vicinity map. It's not binding. The legal description of the property is what's going to be binding and what's going to be annexed in. So I think the county road line is intended to show a proposed alignment of the road and is not either a parcel or boundary map.
It's lacking a survey certificate, which you require.
for the subject property, and that is for recording. It will be required
And
for the subject
there
property.
is not,
Yeah.
there's not a survey certificate.
Okay, if I can hear from the applicant right now, thank you.
Yeah, we've got Jack Reitzel here from Fairfield and Woods.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Jack Reitzel, 1801 California Street, Suite 2600, Denver, representing Chelsea Investment, the owner of the property. I believe what we're talking about is the vicinity map that shows this kind of squiggly line here. The interim city manager is right. That's just a graphic. It just shows generally the locations, property, and space, right? And the annexation map that follows is what we're annexing. Contiguity is based upon Imboden Road. Has no bearing at all on Watkins. So I think it's just a vicinity map, and if there was an error in that, I think it's de minimis.
Okay, so the legal description is the binding
Correct.
part. Okay, not this map.
Thank you. Any other questions for me?
Okay, well, I'm going to.
Okay.
Yes, Councilmember McConnell.
Thank you. So the waggle that we see in the map that I think is the item of concern, it actually looks like it's more or less the path of an existing dirt trail out there. But when I'm looking at our GIS here, it looks like the lines actually are straight.
The legal description is
Legal
defines it
descriptions
as,
are
defines the straight section.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, questions of staff or the applicant?
Mayor?
Councilmember Bergen.
Just to the applicant, so you're requesting the zoning to be changed to agricultural district due to the transportation corridor by the airport for employment opportunities?
Airport district is the
Airport
zoning.
district. Okay. And you did mention that the Planning Commission also unanimously approved this.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions to staff or the applicant?
Mayor,
Councilmember Sundberg.
just a quick comment or question to Danny. Did you receive the report prepared by Jeffrey Moore?
Is this?
Yep.
Yes, I did, and I think that taking pictures of a road from 2023 that is now completely changed from you having earth-moving equipment from 116-ton earth movers from scrapers that were going through in 2019, and semis, 40 semis going through hourly on double directions.
Right. I know there was some questions of land ownership there.
100% different than
Right.
taking one picture of 2023's.
I think what we can do, I'd be willing to do, is maybe we can do a three-way call with Mr. Moore, and we can ask some tough questions, and I'll follow up with you.
Okay, but still, that doesn't change the legal description of property ownership. Okay. Public hearing is now closed. Motion is in order.
Mayor, motion to approve 15A.
It's been moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by Councilmember Zvonek, to approve item number 13A. I'm sorry, item number 15A. Discussion? Seeing none, call for the question on item number 15A.
Councilmember Sundberg, thank you. The motion passes to adopt Resolution 2023-112.
Clerk, now please read the title to item number 15B.
Item 15B is ordinance 2023-47, annexing a parcel of land located in Section 7, Township 3 South, Range 64 west of the 6th Principal Meridian, County of Adams, State of Colorado.
Motion is in order.
Mayor, motion to approve 15B.
It is moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by
Coombs.
Councilmember Bergen to approve item number 15B. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on item number 15B.
The motion passes to adopt ordinance 2023-47.
Would now please read the title to item number 15C.
Item 15C is public hearing, consideration of ordinance 2023-48, zoning approximately 656.76 acres of land, more or less, generally located at the northwest corner of Imboden Road and East 56th Avenue, County of Adams, State of Colorado, to Airport District, and amending the zoning map accordingly.
Public hearing is now open. Are there further comments by staff or the applicant?
No further comments.
Okay.
So I don't get to speak anymore?
Okay.
I mean, that's up to the mayor. He allowed you to speak for all three items.
Okay.
On 15A.
Okay, go ahead. If you have any, if there's any new information that you have to provide.
The city of Aurora has not responded to any of my calls out of my property from people that are trespassing with shooting and guns. They have not responded to Kelly Trucking 100% having an illegal mine operation out there for DIA. And you're walking on eggshells right now on a lawsuit. This involves the airport, this involves the city of Aurora took the longest time to respond. And they didn't respond until everything was over. You've cost me so much money in legal fees to finally prove it. And DRMS sided with me. And I believe that you probably still use Kelly Trucking as a company to do your earth moving. They have never once filed for a permit. I fought this from 2019 to 2022, and no one has fined them except for DRMS, and they got a slap on the hand. Those roads are destroyed, and I have to take the long way around to God knows where, and I can't even sell my property right now because it is encompassed by only through traffic. I have annexations that were granted on dirty deals. And now you're going to let John Madden and his city partner, or his partner, go in with Chelsea Partners, or Chelsea Investment, and do this deal while you close down my roads. This is not acceptable. I've paid my taxes. You shut my water off when I had a sod crop that was ready to go. I have suffered.
Thank you. Questions of staff or the applicant? Seeing none, a motion is in order.
Mayor, motion to approve 15C.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by?
Marcano.
Seconded by Councilmember Marcano to approve item number 15C. Did I close the public hearing? Oh, sorry, public hearing is closed. It was moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by Councilmember Marcano. Further discussion? Seeing none, call for the question on the adoption of item number 15C.
The motion passes to adopt ordinance 2023-48.
Reports, Mayor's report, had a great opportunity on Saturday to go out with Field Training Officer Jonas Spitzer in District 1 for 6 hours, and very impressed with his professionalism. Last week, I don't know. Didn't know my report was that important. Last week, went to our Aurora 911 communications dispatch, where one of our own was honored with a national award Telecommunicator of the Year Award. Sherry Klein, 22-year veteran of Aurora Dispatch, and was honored to give welcoming remarks at the 16th Annual Veterans Small Business Conference that was held in the Hyatt Regency Aurora Denver Conference Center and sponsored by the City of Aurora and by our Aurora South Metro Small Business Development Center. As a retired military and a former small business owner, it was really uplifting to see all the veterans interested either in starting a small business or expanding their small business. Let's see, Councilmember Lawson is not here. Mayor Pro Tem Gardner.
No report.
Councilmember Jurenski.
Thank you, Mayor. So the meeting opened tonight. You asked for a moment of silence for the family that lost 2 children in the fire, but I also want to expand on that. I did a lot of reading. I talked to our fire chief, and it is just really notable that we mention districts, fire stations 4, 6, and 11 that responded to this, and just note that it is our firefighters that carried out 2 dead children. So I think a prayer for our firefighters and the work that they did and continue to do needs to be called out and needs to be mentioned as a humongous thank you to our first responders in this city and a constant reminder of what they do and deal with on a daily basis. With that, I would like to wish our Jewish residents a Happy New Year.
Councilmember Zvonek.
No report.
Councilmember Murillo.
No report.
Councilmember Sundberg.
Thank you, sir. You and I attended a fundraiser for Hope Hall. Pastor Vincent Omegma, who at the grassroots level is helping to house people, expand childcare for people, and has kind of a little school within one of his facilities that helps catch up 3rd through 5th graders in math and reading before they go on to middle school. He's doing great things. We attended, Councilmember Jurenski and I, the APD promotion ceremony. The other day, I went to the Arapahoe County Open Space Share Back and Grant Program recognition, looking at the great work that the county has done, giving money back to the city. Do you know, Mayor, how much money the city has received in the last 20 years from the Share Back program? Just take a guess.
A lot.
To benefit our parks, open spaces, $152+ million, sir. We attended the Home Builders Association need for real reform and construction defect loss. We can build some condominiums, an ongoing issue at the state level. We can hope they can get some things going there so we can build some condominiums. And that's about it, sir. Thank you.
Councilmember Medina.
Thank you, Mayor. Yep, I got my town hall coming up next week, yes, October 4th, Wednesday, at the Active Adult Center, and from 6:30 to 8, we'll be having the Youth Violence Program talking about their updates, and then I also have another function that I will be at in Compare Restaurant on 541 Sable Avenue. We'll be doing October 7th, Saturday from 11 to 3. We'll be having a booth there to recruit some community members for the police department. And that's all I've got.
Councilmember Marcano.
Thank you, Mayor. So I had a chance to swing by the Aurora Minicom this weekend. That was great. I hope that a lot of y'all had a chance to swing by. I just want to shout out to Crit Castle and the tons of artists and local vendors that were there. It was really fun to see a bunch of our community members out having fun, cosplaying and enjoying all kinds of geeky activities. Also had a chance to attend the Arapahoe County Shareback. Great job speaking there, Councilmember Sundberg. And yeah, I just want to thank all of our residents for making the Shareback program permanent because we derive such a tremendous benefit from that partnership with Arapahoe County. My final Ward 4 meeting as a Ward 4 council member is going to be October 12th at 6:30 p.m. We're going to be featuring a candidate forum there with both of our current candidates confirmed. So please bring your questions and get ready to grill the folks who are running to represent you. I'll see y'all then.
Councilmember Coombs.
All right, thank you, Mayor. So first of all, I would like to echo the comments of Councilmember Jurenski. I just cannot imagine as a parent having to carry children out of a home that is on fire. And many thanks to Chief Otten for really putting out that message of support for our firefighters in the aftermath of that incident. And of course, also, it is grave for the parents and the family as well. So definitely do stand with them and appreciate the mayor for that moment of silence. My next ward town hall meeting is October 17th at 6 p.m. at Heather Gardens, and we'll be having updates from police and fire, as we always do, along with Build Up Aurora and the crisis response team. And then finally, I would just like to say that I did have the opportunity to stand with the United Auto Workers on strike in Aurora and Denver this weekend, and will continue to do so.
Councilmember Bergen.
Thank you, Mayor. I also want to just say thank you to our first responders and prayers to that family that suffered such tragedy. I attended the Veteran Small Business Conference reception with the mayor, and again, always thankful to our veterans and what they do in our community. Obviously, supporting veterans in getting jobs is really important. Also attended the Cones with a Cup event that was at the Dairy Queen, and great to see our police officers that were able to engage with the community and with the kids that were there. Fun event. Had my town hall last week, and I just want to thank the presenters. And then I want to say, and which I did say this at the town hall, but congratulations to Officer Judy Lepkin. She is retiring from Aurora Police Department and has served us for 30 years? Or a little bit more, I can't remember.
And we love you, Judy.
Yeah, thank you for your service. And then I also did attend the Shareback event also. Again, we're very grateful that the City of Aurora has been able to receive funds from this grant program. And certainly one of the things that actually, Sundberg, you did a great job, and you did feature Red-tailed Hawk Park in Ward 6. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Meeting adjourned.